What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 979 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Breaking news. Shit sucks. And we were just talking about that. I was just word vomiting to Brett about how everything sucks. And I figured that it has to be the Januaries. I think that January is by far the worst month of the year, because you're in the post-nut clarity of all of these New Year's resolutions, the weather sucks, and you're just looking forward with dread at the year to come. It's dark, it's rainy, it's bitterly cold, you can feel it in your bones. I think January is to blame for my bad mood, so at least I know it'll end in 2 weeks.
Back when I lived in Minnesota, I feel like I treated January and February almost in reverse, meaning that February I always felt like it was like the weather was going to break, but I think it was actually just your own form of psychosis to imagine that was going to happen, because it's Minnesota and you're going to get snow all the way up sometimes till April. But the coldest months, it always felt like February was somehow the better month. Out here, it's the opposite. I feel like the cold doesn't really start, at least on the East Coast where we are, at least where I am, until January ends. Just the end of this week, the weather is supposed to give way and finally start going down into the 20s and in the 10s, and we've been sticking in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s, which I'll take that all day, every day.
Well, the cycle that keeps repeating in Nashville is, it keeps getting warmer and warmer for about a week. Then it rains, which happened today, and then after the rain we go back to freezing temperatures, and the cycle repeats itself. So I'm over that. I'm over it being dark all the time. I'm over January, hence why we put up the poll today. And really,
January is winning right now with 51%.
It's kind of obvious that, between the 2 months that could possibly be the worst months, it has to be either January or February, but I would say it's definitively January. At least February, you get to buy cute stuff for Valentine's Day or something. I don't know. I can at least just dive back into consumerist dissociation in February. But January, I'm just I'm so over it. I didn't even realize that was the reason for all of this, but I got to the bottom of my problem.
There you go. We got a $20 super chat here from Katie.
Oh, we did. In Australian dollars, I believe.
Yep.
I did not see Christy after hearing on this show that it's a film on domestic violence, as I am a survivor of this and don't want to watch films on it.
I don't blame you.
That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that we need to have TWs at the beginning of movies about that, but it's up to you if it's something you're not comfortable with.
Oddly enough, I have so topics about addiction don't tend to bother me. There are some examples like Requiem for a Dream, which are so depressing. At least the one time that I watched it, so depressing that I would never want to watch that again. But in general, those storylines don't really bother me. But I absolutely understand where a lot of people are coming from, mainly because usually when I see it, random instances of seeing somebody use drugs doesn't bother me. But seeing the squalor your life can become if you use them, that is a little bit different, but it usually doesn't bother me.
How'd you feel about Breaking Bad in that regard?
It didn't bother me, but mainly because my life, I wasn't like that, but in some of those years. So, I didn't see it with a clear head, really. So I probably couldn't remember much of anything from it, but I probably wouldn't go back and rewatch it. But I think most people think of that show more as a character study about,
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's more about him than it is about the drugs themselves. It could have been about anything. It's just that they used drugs as the impetus for the story.
Now that I think about it, it is kind of remarkable that he never once did meth in the whole show.
Well,
Isn't that wild?
That's a hallmark of somebody who actually knows what they're doing. If they're doing it for a living, is you don't get high on your own supply. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, you just think they experiment with that one episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they never did.
I remember when I was watching some interviews when they made the show House, and Bryan Singer, who's one of the most unfortunate names that could be tied to that show, as a producer, gave Hugh Laurie Vicodin so that he could understand what it was like to be on it. And he said Hugh Laurie said it was the one and only time he ever used the stuff. Otherwise,
Okay.
he has to fake it the whole time. And I just thought that was funny. I was like, he really just admitted that, like on a DVD feature that this guy just gave him.
Damn,
drugs.
that's
But,
crazy.
Yeah. So, but it's Bryan Singer. Laws didn't seem to matter much to him, as we have since learned.
Right. Yeah.
Guys, hit the like button on this video, please. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the episodes out with everybody that you know. The more people that you share it with, the faster this channel can grow. And also, really, I got to keep reiterating, I've been trying to hammer it home more. Like the videos that you actually enjoy. The more content, if you like the videos, it tells YouTube, the algorithm, that you enjoy seeing it, and hopefully we'll get it out there for more people to see. We've had great subscriber growth lately. Some videos have been doing great. January tends to oftentimes be a dead month for YouTube, but we are kind of clawing our way back from the topsy-turvy world that was, figuring out what the show was going to be like after Mary moved. So we're kind of getting back on track, and that's all thanks to you guys. So go ahead and like the video, please. And what are we getting into today? Well, Sophie Rain, who is, of course, an OnlyFans model, if you want, they're models. She's
A model.
She's an OnlyFans model. She is in a battle, a fight, a tussle with a prospective Republican politician who wants to tax OnlyFans creators so much for limited government, right, guys? Wants to tax OnlyFans creators 50% for, which would essentially bankrupt Miami. I'm sure in some way, shape, or form, it would bankrupt Miami. We will get into that whole discussion. We are also going to talk about a conspiracy that is being rendered about by everyone about Erika Kirk and her clothing and what they think her clothing actually means. So, we're...
Yeah, there's all sorts of secrets hidden in her outfits.
Again.
And a journalist at the Washington Post uncovered it in an in-depth critique of her fashion sense.
Could also be called
Lovely.
schizophrenia, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Also, Drewski has a skit making fun of megachurch pastors, which I believe he lifted directly from general Instagram reels, but it's still good. So we will talk about that. We've got more stuff to get into. If you're ready, Mary, we can go. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go for it.
So this former teen idol who used to be a regular on the Disney Channel named Matt Prokop was just arrested on Christmas Eve 2025 for several charges, one of them involving predatory behavior towards children. But since we're so early in the video, I'm not going to say certain flaggable words right now.
Honestly,
TMZ
that phrase might be enough to like I said the same thing yesterday. Like when we covered Timothy Busfield yesterday, I'm like, what are the odds that this one gets demonetized? And I had to degrade myself into saying SAC, basically everything but the words. The other videos that I did on Timothy Busfield were automatically demonetized, like before they were even I wasn't even done recording, and YouTube's like, nah.
Well, there's only so much you can do.
Yep.
And Matt Prokop also got into a violent altercation with the police who were trying to arrest him. He was also charged with resisting arrest. TMZ was the first to break the story. They also posted his mugshot here. I would like to show that just to compare what he used to look like in the heyday of his career as an actor compared to current day 35-year-old wearing an Aztec print baseball tee from Target from like 15 years ago.
That looks more like Pacific Sunwear to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks Pacific
Sunwear. I have not heard anyone call it anything other than PacSun, which blows my mind.
It used to be called Pacific Sunwear before it shortened to PacSun.
Yeah. He did not go down easy, says TMZ, when police came to arrest him on Christmas Eve. He slammed the door in the cop's face and resisted arrest, but was ultimately taken away to jail in Texas. TMZ obtained an incident report in which the arresting officer said police arrived at his apartment in Victoria, Texas on December 24th. The former child actor was immediately uncooperative after cops said he was under arrest for violating conditions of his bond in a separate case, the details of which were unclear. They state that Prokop answered the door and quickly slammed it in the faces of the cops, but they were ultimately able to get inside the apartment. I don't know with what, a battering ram. Mm-hmm. And they Prokop allegedly refused to obey police orders, pulling his arms away and twisting away in an effort not to get cuffed. Eventually, he was restrained and taken to county jail for evading and resisting arrest. And he was also booked for invasive visual recording for allegedly recording a victim in a bathroom without her permission. And also a separate charge of possession of apparent CP.
I wonder if they were there for the initial charges and then they found that stuff just upon search of the residence.
That sounds correct. Yeah. They did not initially know that he was in possession of, it says 10 to 50 depictions of children.
Yeah.
And he has a long history of trouble, they add, especially when it involves his ex, Sarah Hyland, who you guys might be familiar with from Modern Family. They starred in a Disney original movie together, which I watched back in 2011. This was during my time of watching Disney Channel. It was called Geek Charming. And when you look up this movie, you're going to see a bunch of really unfortunate, poorly aged stills of Matt Prokop holding a camcorder. Because, I don't know, I guess history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just not a good look for him.
Okay,
as
so
we know more information about the case.
Before we went live, you were waxing poetic about like everything just feels like worse these days, right? Like that was just kind of but it's like this is one of those things where we've been aware of just how much grossness there is in Hollywood, but it does feel like I've seen more death and this type of stuff lately even than I have in the past.
Well, I think people should be aware that this is not just a Hollywood problem. I would say, of course, there is more predatory behavior and more debauchery in Hollywood than almost any other industry, perhaps on the globe. But you should know that, you know, these people, especially people who are dangerous to children, are everywhere in society, regardless of where you live or socioeconomic status or anything. These people are everywhere. If you use one of these services where you can see how many sex offenders are in your area, you will be aware of this fact. This is not exclusive to Hollywood or Disney.
No,
these people are everywhere.
This is one of those things that comes up whenever it would come up on X a lot. Whenever a discussion would come up about a priest who had been accused or, you know, of a crime like this, and people would say people who abuse children, they seek power and give them access to kids. So
they seek trust.
Hollywood puts them in the perfect place to get power, get trust from families, parents who are desperate enough to, you know, put their kids into positions that they right now, like when I was covering the Timothy Busfield stuff, I was like, look, maybe 20 years ago there was a time where a parent could be forgiven for their ignorance and not knowing the way that these industries work. But in 2026 now, every parent should be well armed against knowing what Hollywood's about, at least at that level.
Yeah, when I was like, 8 years old or something, I went to a talent search event that was in my area for a lot of talent agents that, worked with Disney child actors. And I got pretty far along in the selection process, and my mom ended up ghosting the talent agent who was interested in signing me because she was one of the few parents specifically aware of those issues. Yeah. But in 2026, you absolutely have zero excuse to be ignorant of that fact.
There's a 20 there from Shane H. Wilder.
Matt Prokop in a tussle with police. LOL, I wouldn't tussle with Victoria police. They don't play. The only ones that go harder are the Midland sheriffs who own an actual tank and bring it to standoffs. That is insane.
I wonder if that was taxpayer, like that. I guess that's taxpayer funded, right? Or was that donated by like a local oil billionaire to who loves the police or something like that?
Prokop is definitely nominal determinism in action, by the way.
Have you ever seen those videos? Have you ever seen those videos of like the guy who reviews like private schools in Texas? Because
no, I have not.
There's this guy on YouTube who on Instagram who reviews these absurdly gigantic schools that are privately funded in Texas.
Oh, I might have seen.
They've got
at least one of these videos. Yeah,
they've got like their own food court, like restaurants and like a 10,000 stadium football stadium because it's Texas and football is such a big part of Texas. Like, it's just a bit ridiculous.
And you know,
getting
when
your
I
own tank
tell
is
people
a certain type of energy.
When I tell people that I went to private schools, they do assume that they're visualizing one of those. But my schools like didn't have football, didn't have cafeterias, didn't have like
how did you
so
eat?
many
They
things.
just starve you?
You had to bring your own lunch. Your parents had to feed you.
Oh my gosh.
Novel concept.
Oh my gosh, that's a hot take on X right now because
That's
people
a
are
really
always
hot
like,
take.
If the school's not feeding you, they're not doing their job.
Right. And I looked through Matt Prokop's IMDb before the show because I did remember his face. He was a guest star on Hannah Montana. He also guest starred on Good Luck Charlie on the Disney Channel before the Geek Charming movie. And he was in a public relationship with Sarah Hyland, who co-starred with him in that movie, up until 2014, when she was granted a restraining order against him over claims that he was verbally and physically abusive. And she later on became a vocal advocate about domestic violence and why she thinks it's important to speak up about these experiences. And she also shared how she's suffered from PTSD after the fact, and she has permanent scars from the experience. She also allegedly had to bring in her on-screen mother from Modern Family, Julie, Bowen, to accompany her when she ended that relationship because he was so volatile. And according to the story, she, peacefully tried to end the relationship while she was accompanied by Julie Bowen, and Matt Prokop reacted by throwing a lighter at her and threatening to kill her dog and burn her house down. So obviously this guy is unhinged and a danger to society. I am glad that justice has been served, although he's still in jail and awaiting trial. I hope this guy goes behind bars for a very long time, but we should be aware that these people are everywhere in society and not just, in Disney movies. Like, I'm just saying it's quite tragically ironic that all of the stills you're going to find of this guy from the movie are him holding a camcorder when he is allegedly a serial peeping Tom recording women in bathrooms. Like, in the movie, he is an indie filmmaker recording a documentary about Sarah Hyland's life as a queen bee in their high school.
So it's actually true. It's actually true that if Hollywood would give you some type of character that involved like a kid who was in like his high school film club and he really wanted to make movies, they were always written as vaguely creepy.
Oh, but it's also a self-insert.
Yes.
It's definitely a self-insert character because all of the people who are, writing these scripts were film nerds in high school and college.
I forget who it was that played him, but in the movie The Girl Next Door, the main character, who ends up in the relationship with Alicia Cuthbert, has two friends. One whose name is Klitz. I'm not even kidding you. That's his name. That's his last name. It's probably a nickname.
Okay.
And then the other one who's like obsessed with porn and wants to make movies for a living. And then that's just his whole character arc, is that he's obsessed with porn and he wants to make movies for a living, and he's a kid in high school. So that's how Hollywood imagines the kid who's president of the AV club.
That's how they imagine themselves.
Yes.
Actually, which is quite accurate.
All right.
It's a self-report.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Then.
Okay, so in confusing news, Sydney Sweeney was just pictured alongside freed Israeli hostages. Their names are Noah Argamani and Avinatan Or. They were released from custody of Hamas terrorists in 2024 and 2025, respectively. And Sydney Sweeney, for whatever reason, I have no idea the context here, took a selfie with them, and it was posted by a pro-Israel group called Stand With Us yesterday. They said actress Sydney Sweeney, alongside Hamas captivity survivors, Noah and Avinatan, were kidnapped by Hamas on October 7th at the Nova Music Festival in southern Israel. Noah was rescued from Gaza in June of 2024 during an IDF operation, and Avinatan was released on October 13th, 2025. This couple is just reunited, and they're getting a lot of media attention. This photo is being published and reported on every Israeli news publication, but it's not being picked up so much by American media quite yet. Although I think this is going to get a lot of negative reactions from the Gen Z watermelon emoji stan accounts who already hate Sydney Sweeney and Israel. So this is just a perfect storm to have them in a full meltdown.
Well, what I said before we went live today, because there was also these still images that came out, the very first still images of Euphoria season 3, and it's got Sydney Sweeney and her doing her OnlyFans work. Let's face it, the audience for, as I said before, the audience for Euphoria and the, you know, and the ones who love Israel, they are separate, very distinct circles. They have no overlap whatsoever.
Yeah,
like
that Venn diagram is just, it looks like this.
Yes, it looks like owl eyes. It's but whereas the fans, you know, the pro-Israel movement, I don't know how many of them are huge fans of Euphoria, but I do know that the watermelon emojis probably outnumber them. Probably.
Yeah, they're pissed right now, but I've seen more positive engagement with this from r/Israel on Reddit, who are ecstatic to have a celebrity endorsement of their cause, and they're extremely excited to see the outrage that this is going to cause in the next day or so from the watermelon emoji crowd. But I did see one reply from an apparent right-winger on X saying, if this photo is real, it turns out she's just another heartless Zio whore who celebrates the mass slaughter of children. We should have known. So now she is not only pissed off the Free Palestine watermelon people, she's also pissed off the Groypers, who were initially on her side.
So her invite to the Ian Carroll barbecue the cookout has since been revoked.
She's not invited to the Ian Carroll cookout anymore. That has been rescinded.
You know what it is? You know what I think the problem? You know what I think the problem with this is that she has, and me and you have had this discussion before. So go with me on this. She is her willingness to let herself be misunderstood by just she imprints like other people imprint on her what she means, like what she means to them, right?
Yeah.
Just search her name without any modifiers on X, and you will see a bunch of people like fitting Sydney Sweeney into whatever their worldview or ideology is, whether for good or for bad. And in this case, she just took a picture with some people. She was probably at an event with Scooter Braun, her current boyfriend. These people asked for a picture, and she took a picture, and then it got posted on this pro-Israel board, and now she is the face of the Israel movement. She's the face of the Zionist movement when she's just like, I just took a picture. Like, what do you want me to do?
Right. It's clearly not that serious, but Scooter Braun is facing most of the blame for this, given that they're in a public relationship, and Scooter, in case you didn't know, is Jewish and openly pro-Israel. So he probably was the one who came up with this idea. I was just like, is there some kind of Make-A-Wish Foundation that they set up in Israel for freed hostages, and this is their wish? They wanted to meet Sydney Sweeney. I guess, like, fair play. I don't know.
Both of them, that's impressive. Like, they both wanted to meet her.
They're living the dream.
There's a 20 there from Shane H. Wilder.
Midland has 2 tanks named Bubba and Patsy, paid by oil billionaire donations.
I was right!
The sheriff wanted them. He got them. The sheriff was there from 1982 to 2019 when he died. I still remember being a kid and seeing the tanks.
I was kidding. I was being facetious, and it was right.
That's wild.
I am laser focused today, guys.
And predictably, the New York Post has published an article about Sydney Sweeney's photo with the survivors, saying not just the genes that fit well, it's the values too. They call the picture heartwarming. If you're unaware, the New York Post is an openly pro-Israel publication, hence why they're covering it with such, they're heaping praise on her for being one of the very, very few A-list celebrities that is pro-Israel, even though she said nothing about the topic. And as you said, people are just going to project onto her whatever they want to believe.
Also, that's not true. There are plenty of Hollywood, actors that are pro-Israel. We've got Michael Rappaport, who's going to run against Zoran Mamdani in 2028 or 2029 or whenever the hell it is.
Calling Michael Rappaport an A-lister would be a stretch.
I didn't say A-list. I didn't say A-list.
There are Zionist celebrities. There are a lot of Zionists who also just work in the Hollywood industry, but it's very rare for them to be outspoken about it because it's an unpopular stance.
Maybe Scooter did this because he's pissed about all of the men trying to send her messages.
Yeah, this is another thing I was meaning to mention in this topic. She is rumored to be fighting off the advances of pro athletes sliding into her DMs constantly, and Scooter Braun, being the ancient 44-year-old man with old-fashioned values, takes great offense at this. And one person replied, "You can't possibly expect respect as a 44-year-old man named Scooter," which I think is fair. But professional athletes are reportedly sliding into Sydney's DMs, and it has frustrated her boyfriend, Scooter Braun. They're constantly sending messages that he deems incredibly disrespectful, even though she ignores and blocks them. There is apparently trouble in paradise for the pair, as insiders noted several other issues within their relationship. They also claimed that Scooter has left feeling furious and disrespected last November because Sydney met up with her ex-fiance, Jonathan Davino, in Los Angeles. That is true, and I did find that very strange.
She should have disclosed that to Scooter if she was doing that.
It was a weird thing. It popped up in a TMZ headline, and then there was no further detail on it. But like she did meet up with him, and they got into
they argued in the car.
Right, they got into some dark tinted windows SUV on a side street and were yelling at each other, and then she ended up yelling at Jonathan to leave her alone, and I'm like, you got in the car, babe. Like he's you didn't have to meet up with him. And then it's also bothering Scooter reportedly that she's so fiercely independent and wants to spend time alone. She just went on a solo vacation without him, and he prefers for them to be together, but he's still adjusting to that. And they also claimed that he needs to learn being in love with Sydney also means sharing her with the world. Yeah. Couldn't be truer.
You know what? Yeah. You know who she needs to end up with? She needs to end up with Timothée Chalamet, because I was just reading an article about how apparently there's trouble in paradise with him and what's her name,
really?
Kylie Jenner, because he's got to focus on his acting career. He's got awards to win as Marty Supreme. So maybe she
has her own stuff going on.
That's what I'm saying.
Kylie's like way more wealthy than him.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you what the article said. Could be true, could not be true. But I also love that when he got an award, he's like, I couldn't have done. Put a girl on. Yeah. I've been going back to the one with Carter because it's got actual beats. It's got an actual beat. But the point was, when he won the award, he's like, I couldn't have done it without you. I'm like, you objectively could have.
Yeah.
You could have absolutely done it without her. Like, I don't buy that, like, I'm not saying that she doesn't love you. Maybe she loves you, but, like, did she, like, drag your ass out of bed and bring you to set? I'm guessing that's not what happened.
How are you going to thank your girlfriend on stage and not God?
There you go.
That's telling, Timothy.
Yeah, so Sydney Sweeney will forever be known as the person who can just become everything to everybody. By not speaking, she allows everybody to imprint on her.
Yeah, I think that is why she draws comparisons to Marilyn Monroe. It has a distinctive political undertone, of course, that didn't exist back in old Hollywood, but it's because people know so little of her interior life. And so much of her body is on display. And that's why I think she becomes a lightning rod for people. And you can either project onto her that she's the representative for your ideology, or she is enemy number one, depending on who you are and what side of the aisle you fall on.
She lives a life designed for people to write think pieces about.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe not on the level of Taylor Swift quite yet, but it's getting there.
All right, let's move on. What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see the cute first. Let's mix things up.
All right, here we go, guys. Cute of the day. First, I'm going to do two. We've got two here today. First one is from, it looks like Sergeant Wolf. Caught him sleeping. So cozy. He's upside down, and he's very cute.
Oh, I was like, what am I even looking at?
It's
now I see it.
And then this one here from the Kevin Crater Show. Thank you, Kevin.
Aw.
He looks like he's running towards you as fast as he can.
Like a teddy bear.
All right, let's move on. We will do the cringe. Do you want to give everybody
This is an interview that Mindy Kaling gave for the Inside Out movie, and
the first one
lived in infamy.
Yeah. I'm not going to screen share, so here we go.
Amazing. My girls were completely engrossed by it when we were watching it, because it really does make you feel like you're inside this 11-year-old girl.
Wait for her response. She just lets
in a profoundly wholesome way.
I wonder if when the guy was done, the guy's just like, bro, I shouldn't have gotten out of bed today.
It reminded me of that moment on, I think it was the ESPN New Year's Eve broadcast where the guy, he gets jump scared by the gay couple and he's like, oh, we're seeing
that
love in the air. He's like trying to recover it.
Did you see the guy who won like the guy won like a ton of money by betting on whether they would show gay kisses during the ball drop this year at New Year's? And the guy bet
what on like Kalshi or something?
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Won a ton of money.
I mean, they have to, of course.
All right, well that was disturbing. Let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into.
So there is a Republican named James Fishbach who is currently running for governor of Florida to succeed Ron DeSantis. He's not even close to being a runner-up candidate at this point. He's very low on donations, but he's getting the most attention right now because of a recent policy announcement that he made for his campaign. He is planning to implement what he's calling the sin tax. And that's not SYNTAX, it's SINTAX. And that is going to be implemented on the many OnlyFans creators that have huddled in the Miami area. Mm-hmm. I think one of the reasons why they're there is that Florida does not have a state income tax. But another reason is because Miami is just known for being a city for partying, for debauchery, and there are tons of social media influencers there. So it's understandable why there are so many in Florida.
So there was
this is going to, he says, tax 50% of OnlyFans creators' money in Florida, which will, according to him, go to funding the public education system. He wants to pay public school teachers more money, and he wants to also use the money to improve school lunches the way that Michelle Obama promised to do.
He doesn't want to go to your school where you have to bring it from home.
Those are causes that Republicans are not really sympathetic to, but they are more sympathetic to the cause of
taxing
deterring prostitution. That's really the sell here.
A study in 2023 from Madhouse Labs identified Miami as the OnlyFans capital of the United States with over 4,900 creators and the most creators per capita, 1,110 per 100,000 residents. So
the others, I'm sure, are LA, maybe Austin, maybe Nevada.
Florida's up there as well, I think.
Yeah. Well, let's play this video that Colin Rugg posted of James Fishbach announcing this policy while he was discussing it with Joel Webbin.
Plan to do this, but allow me to do it, which is that as Florida governor in year one, I will push for the first of its kind OnlyFans sin tax. If you are a so-called OnlyFans creator in Florida, you are going to pay 50% to the state on whatever you so-called earn.
So basically what conservatives are now battling inside them at this exact moment is their hatred for prostitution, but their hatred of high taxes. And they're currently in a one-on-one blood feud trying to decide, it might even depend on the day. On some day, they might be like, hey, government overreach. On another day, they're like, tax those whores.
Right. I mean, I'm always on the tax those whores side, personally.
via that online degeneracy platform. And that money will be used to fund our education system, will be used to fund the crisis pregnancy centers, will be used to fund the first of its kind mental health czar for men in particular.
A Republican talking about a mental health czar. I guess it's okay because they're talking about it for men. Because he's trying to pander to his voting bloc that I don't think any men are going to vote for this guy because he looks like he got stuffed into lockers growing up.
It's highlighting the issue that porn addiction is plaguing young men.
Okay. And men have been told for far too long that they are guilty of masculinity, that they are guilty of all of society's ills. I'm not going to stand for that slanderous lie. What I'm going to do is I am going to end this lie that toxic masculinity is responsible for all the sins and ills of society. If you're an OnlyFans model and you reside in Florida, get ready to pay 50% of your income to the state.
One of the highlights of being an actual man is to take responsibility for your own actions and your own behavior and not relying on the state to export your morality, if you will. Like, it would actually be more, at least to me, would be to not get the government involved and find a way to encourage men to make the right decision about this topic for themselves, not have it thrust upon them by overreaching government. But that's just me.
It is called a sin tax because it is a sin, number one. But the purpose of a sin tax in economics is to disincentivize and deter a behavior. And yes, as Florida governor, I don't want young women who could otherwise be mothers, raising families, rearing children. I don't want them to be selling their bodies to sick men online. And I don't want young, impressionable men who have strayed from Christ, who have strayed from our Lord and Savior, to be told and drawn into lust and have their entire brain rewired. We will raise hundreds of millions of dollars of income on the OnlyFans sin tax. And if we don't, Joel, if we don't raise that income, you know what it'll mean? It will mean something even greater has materialized for the young women.
Okay.
And young
so,
men.
really?
So there's.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. It's fine.
I think it's a cope, and I don't think it'll work for him. I don't think he's gonna win anything.
Oh, no. I mean, I don't think that this guy has any realistic chance of winning or even getting close to winning the governor's seat. That's a whole separate discussion.
Florida doesn't have any income tax, so it's even more. It's like, so we have no income tax. We're going to tax this one specific thing. So he's like, so fuck you specifically. Yeah, sorry.
I diverge from you, Brett, and I diverge from the libertarians in that I am a conservative authoritarian, and I am not one to kvetch about government overreach. I sympathize with his take. However, I think it's unrealistic, and perhaps he's playing into their hand by giving them so much publicity. And that is specifically taking place in his public beef with Sophie Rain. Sophie Rain is one such OnlyFans creator who is in the top, probably 0.01% of creators on the platform. She lives in Miami, and she is taking great offense at his impassioned plea to voters. And he tweeted out, "Hey, Sophie Rain, pay up or quit OnlyFans. As Florida governor, I will not allow a generation of smart and capable young women to sell their bodies online." She responded saying, "Sounds like you subscribed and got buyer's remorse after dropping your annual salary on an OF girl." To which he responded, "Sophie, pay your taxes or quit OnlyFans. Those are your choices. I'm running for Florida governor to stop smart and capable women like you from being exploited by that disgusting platform." So that message doesn't exactly hold up, because if she were smart and capable, you can't claim that she's also a victim who's being exploited. She, in fact, is quite smart and capable, and she is the one exploiting the men who follow her. It's very clear what's going on there. But she responded with a video about James Fishbach. She said in the caption, "Targeting a group of individuals using their job to survive when there are multi-billion-dollar corrupt businesses that don't pay any taxes is the insane. So, okay, she's not very good at writing. Let's hear her in the response.
Never in my whole life did I think that I would wake up and see a Florida politician trying to start beef with me for clout. So he's proposing a sin tax on bops where we would have to pay 50% to the state on top of the 37 I already paid to the government. And I would be more than happy to pay that if multi-billion-dollar corporations were also being properly taxed. But surprise, they're not. I never usually get into politics, but there are clearly better ways to raise funds from actual corrupt businesses in our country. I think that people also fail to realize that there are so many creators on this platform that do this job because they're struggling. So to tax them like that when they're literally doing it just to support their families is sad. I would much rather continue donating directly to people in need because we all really know where our tax dollars go.
So she sounded like more of a Republican there at the end than he does.
No, she doesn't sound like a Republican. She sounds like a libertarian,
Charity.
to be clear.
No, she's talking about direct charity. She says, this is what happens whenever conservatives and, you could say libertarians too, and Democrats argue about how your money should be spent. They're saying that for everybody to be treated well, we need to tax people more. And then conservatives and libertarians will talk about the benefits of charity, of voluntarily donating to charity. And even charity comes under scrutiny these days because how much of the actual money that you donate to whatever charity ends up actually going to any cause.
Right. Well, I mean, I'd love to know what causes or people Sophie Rain is donating her money to. That would be really interesting. She expanded on this, saying, I pay my 37% income tax proudly, and I would be glad to pay more if big businesses weren't paying zero in taxes. She referenced this report from the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. At least 55 of the largest corporations in America paid no federal corporate income taxes in their most recent fiscal year, despite enjoying substantial pre-tax profits in the U.S. This continues a decades-long trend of corporate tax avoidance by the biggest U.S. corporations, and it appears to be the product of long-standing tax breaks preserved and expanded by the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, as well as the CARES Act tax breaks enacted in the spring of 2020. So it is pointing out this is Republican doing. This is by Republican doing. They are responsible for these major corporate tax breaks, obviously. Rarely is that enjoyed by middle-class working people.
I mean, has anybody really thought that much of what Trump has done in his second term has been beneficial to the average person and more that he's benefiting the corporations? I don't think
that's a very common.
I would. Okay, so what if you went to a blue state and they're like, look, right-wing extremism is out of control and we're going to tax YouTubers 50% because they're pushing. So you think that if they're above doing something like that, if a Republican who looks like Jeff Goldblum on estrogen can propose this, you don't think that some Democrat who has no compunction about actually following the law would do something like that? They absolutely would.
The Jeff Goldblum thing, that must cut deep for him.
Yeah,
I'm sure
he gets that a lot. I'm sure.
That's not the first time someone has made that comparison.
The Republicans will make it about morality. The left will make it about online right extremism. And both of them will try to raise taxes and make it impossible for you to make a living doing something on your own. The only difference is both sides have a different argument as to what's acceptable. The left will be like, whore around. We don't care. But you better not be talking about Ron Paul on your podcast. And then the right will be like, talk about Ron Paul all you want, but you better not be whoring around on the internet.
Right. Well, I think that James Fishbach is well aware that he is not going to win this campaign, and I think that he is just trying to gain publicity. Unfortunately, Sophie Rain is benefiting from this more than he is, and it appears to some people that they're in cahoots together to enrich her, because she rarely gets this much media attention. She also added, in response to the O-1B visas being granted to foreign OnlyFans models, she said, work visas are being issued for OF models. Meanwhile, a Florida candidate is looking to tax us 50% on top of the federal tax we pay at the same time. Sounds ironic to me. James Fishbach responds by saying, keep running your mouth. It's about to be 100%. And it's like, bro, like, that's a lot of talk for someone who still hasn't even gone through a primary race.
Yeah. Well, it's a very good way to build up his public profile, because then you've got people like us talking about it, which is, I'm assuming, the point. It's like the big ask. He's going to get into office and be like, best I can do is nothing.
And of course, he's getting clowned on because people think that, he's kind of projecting his issues onto Sophie Rain and OnlyFans models. Even you were making these jokes that, like, Sophie Rain represents all of the girls that rejected him in high school.
Yeah,
and
of course.
He is the quintessential poli-sci major debate club Republican bro. Like, he looks like every poli-sci major I've ever met. So, and he's maybe not the best cultural representative for the anti-OnlyFans cause. But, personally, I am very much in favor of using all legitimate means of politics and government to legislate morality in deterring people from doing bad stuff and encouraging people to do good stuff. I completely agree with that mechanism, but I don't think that he's going to have a realistic chance of implementing this. I highly doubt that he's going to. And you can see in the polling numbers, he is not the most popular among the candidates, and he's gotten the least in donations. I mean, Florida state politics are incredibly corrupt, which is a different conversation that we don't have time for, but I don't think that he's going to make it very far with this.
All right, let's move on.
Let's get into super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Wednesday, Brett and Mary. Mary, did you hear the reports that Venerable Archbishop Fulton Sheen could be beatified in September? Let's go."
Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, so when someone is in the process of cause for their canonization to become a saint in the Catholic Church, there are different stages. So venerable is just a recognition that this person was an example of heroic virtue. Beatification comes when there is one fully investigated, proven miracle that is attributed to this person's intercession. And you can be canonized as a saint when there are at least 2 miracles attributed to your intercession. So there is one miracle, I believe, that's been investigated. It was involving a stillborn birth that was revived after an intercession to Fulton Sheen. I am glad to hear that news. From the last I heard, they were close to beatifying him back in 2019, and then that process was halted for totally bogus reasons.
What were the reasons?
It was some allegation that he mishandled sexual and financial misconduct in the church, but those investigations were resolved and it was proven untrue.
Okay.
So now they can finally get the process back underway. I would be really happy if he got beatified this year and hopefully canonized next year. We'll see. Okay. That's great news.
This is a really funny one here before we move on. So Aurelius in the chat says, Mary and Brett are such dumbasses on this topic. That's interesting because we took the opposite perspective. I would be interested to know what is the third correct answer to that topic.
Yeah, what's the secret third thing? But we didn't even agree.
Yeah. Okay.
That's funny.
Let's hold off on the rest. Let's move on. We got more stuff to get into. Erika Kirk.
Okay, so a journalist, a style reporter at the Washington Post named Ashley Malloy just published an in-depth critique of Erika Kirk for her fashion sense. And according to this column, Erika is subtly sending a message to her audience that she is not a feminist. And the conspiracy that Ashley Malloy is spreading here is that she's secretly a feminist because she's a career woman now. And I guess it just remains a total mystery why Erika Kirk is no longer a trad wife, why she is so public facing now. I can't think of why that might be. It's a total mystery why she can't prioritize her marriage anymore, huh? But they led with this. Erika Kirk, a mother to 2 toddlers, continues to take on public-facing leadership duties while promoting traditional ideas about prioritizing marriage and motherhood, Here's how her clothes are attempting to walk the same high wire. And the byline here says, her recent outfits are making a statement. Take her seriously, but don't take her for a career, woman. Their headline is Erika Kirk is walking a fine line in a glittering pantsuit. And they featured this photo of her from, I believe, at Amfest, where she's wearing this pantsuit that's covered in gold sequins. And Ashley Malloy says, Erika, back in June, before Charlie's death, stood before a packed room at Turning Point's Young Women's Leadership Summit in Texas on a beige and pink stage styled to look vaguely like a Parisian living room to give an address on reviving biblical womanhood. She advised her audience to never delay marriage or motherhood for the sake of your career because, in her words, you can always start or restart a career. An LLC can be created anytime you want, she said, but children, family, your husband, that is not a renewable resource. A measuredly working parent-friendly message, most would agree, but Erika went on to make clear this was decidedly not feminism. And aiding Kirk in hammering home this femininity over feminism theme, her pink and white mini dress. And this was something that she was made fun of for wearing back in June last year. It's this gigantic chiffon dress with all of these ruffles flying everywhere. It's very standout. It has rhinestones and ruffles and scallops. It's very, girly girl aesthetic. And people, made fun of her for looking like cotton candy at the time. And, of course, they point out that Erika got married, I believe, in her early 30s, and she was incredibly successful in her career and in academia beforehand.
When you look at her credentials, she'd already done so much in her life prior to getting married.
Yeah, so I mean that was just the beginning of the I think people assumed that was hypocritical for her to say. But this is something that we talked about, I think, like last week, that, a lot of people in the public eye are trying to give advice to the average person, and that advice doesn't fit neatly into the story of their own lives and careers and families, because they are, by all metrics, very exceptional people. So I think it's perfectly fair. I don't think that makes her a hypocrite.
Can I ask you a question? Because somebody asked it in the chat as well. What is biblical womanhood? Like, what is the definition of biblical womanhood?
Well, I think that, I haven't watched her speech, but I think she was probably highlighting a hierarchy of priorities that a Christian woman is supposed to have in her life, where, of course, God comes first. Your husband is your priority after your relationship with God, and then your care and nurturing of your children, and then, the rest of your family, friends, and then your career would be the last priority under all of those things. And that doesn't mean that you can't work or something, but it does mean that it should be a lower priority than maintaining a relationship with God and with your husband and your children.
Okay.
So I think if I had to guess the basic theme of her speech, that would be it.
Okay.
But, the conspiracy theory that they're trying to spin with this piece about Erika Kirk's jewelry and her hair and her clothes is that she is secretly a feminist.
Okay.
She's trying to trick everyone into thinking that she's not a feminist, but she is a feminist because she is a CEO
She's
now.
a crypto feminist.
Of Turning Point. And I think it's self-explanatory that there's nothing traditional or normal or even enviable about the position that Erika Kirk has been put in for the past 5 months. So I don't really understand what she is expected to do at this point to, earn the trad wife bona fides, given that her husband is dead at the hands of a violent leftist extremist. Mm-hmm. You can argue with me on that point if you want, but you just sound just as crazy as the woman who wrote this article. She's basically saying that Erika refuses to dress like Kamala Harris in a muted pantsuit. And she continues going out in, you know, lots of jewelry. She's wearing lots of sequins, lots of glitter, lots of lace, lots of chiffon, lots of pink, lots of girly stuff.
So it's supposed to be like some
she's,
type
you know,
of
trying to hide from everyone that she's a feminist.
So it's overt femininity for the sake of hiding feminism.
Right, which sounds insane because so many public-facing avowed feminists dress in pink and glitter and sequins all the time. If anything, it's almost seen as a calling card for girl power feminism. But she tried to put that thesis forward, and I think the reason behind it is clear. This journalist hates Erika Kirk by virtue of hating her husband, or at least who her husband was in her warped worldview.
Yeah.
Every word of this piece is just dripping in resentment and mean girl bullying. Truly. I think that she has never faced this level of adversity in her life, and we can all hope and pray we never do, and that we'll never be under the same pressure that this woman is under. But, you know, you're the one with the laptop job at Washington Post where you can write about Erika Kirk's sweater and how it's channeling The Handmaid's Tale. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't take this seriously. They say her trendy luxury ensembles accessorized with loud Christian Louboutin heels telegraph, I can hold my own with the coastal elite liberals, but let it be known that I am doing so in a modest and ladylike fashion. Or to borrow a phrase from Erika's own sphere of influence, she is in the world, but not of it. And I just want to point out that this same style reporter, Ashley Malloy, a couple of months ago, wrote a glowing review of Zoran Mamdani's fashion sense and the masterclass in political messaging that he has used through his suits and ties.
What was the argument?
Because they never write about they never write about people on their own political side this way, of course. Like, that is to be expected. I just thought it was worth a mention.
What was the art? Like, what did his suit and ties share with us? Like, what did they convey to the world?
She said that his suits, because they often lack shoulder padding and look a lot like the average groomsman suit at a wedding, communicate that he is the ultimate everyman and that he is relatable to the general public, despite the fact that he is a Hollywood Nepo baby.
So would the argument be to, like, okay, you're going to get into politics and you want to convey a sense of normality, so you don't get custom suits. You wear off the rack so that you're like, hey, I wear off the rack suits just like the rest of you. Like, I am the poor.
She compared it to the suits that were worn by Cuomo and Sliwa, who they were wearing the more old-fashioned style that has this padding in the shoulders to convey power. And he's going for a softer look because he's non-threatening and relatable and chill and millennial.
You can't say that the fashion isn't a topic of discussion. Look what happened with frickin' what's his name in Florida and the shoes with DeSantis and the shoes with the heels.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to say Erika is, you know, the only public figure or political figure who is, you know, come under fire for her fashion sense. Of course, that's not the case, but I think there is a particular tone of animosity specific to her, given that, you know, her husband was the victim of a political assassination. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's gross. And it's obviously not acknowledging that there is nothing traditional about the state of her life right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's unfair. And when I posted about this earlier on Instagram, I'm not saying I expected like rapturous applause. I knew there would be some people who hate Erika in my comments, but it was a majority. And I'm getting really disturbed by the hate train for Erika as of late. They're not just criticizing her for, you know, normal things like maybe you think it was an unwise decision for Turning Point to put her at the top of their organization as the CEO. Maybe you disagree with that decision. Maybe you think that she is poorly media trained. Maybe you think that she comes off as awkward or strange on camera. And I would agree with you on that point. But if all that people were saying about Erika is that she comes across as weird, if that's all that they were saying, like I wouldn't even address it. But that's not all they're saying. They're implying and saying explicitly much worse about her on a daily basis.
Yep.
And without any evidence. So, I saw one comment that said, oh, claiming that she killed her husband, that's a little bit of a stretch, but everyone is really just saying that she is weird. Nothing more than that. So why are you even defending her? Mm-hmm. And then this person gets a reply from someone who openly says that she put a hit out on her husband to take him out. And it's like, okay, are we just going to deny that people are making those claims? Like, that is a very real thing. They're either claiming that she personally killed him or that she put a hit out on him, or they're claiming that she is intentionally hiding who was really at fault for his assassination in a grand conspiracy cover-up.
If House of Cards was still on air, they would do a season based around what happened.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. They're not just saying that she's weird. I agree that she, maybe I relate to her in a weird way. She's a blonde who makes uncomfortably intense eye contact with people, but like that's not all they're saying about Erika. They're saying much worse about her, and it's, in my opinion, it's completely baseless. I've seen no evidence for what people are saying.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, the internet and the means of communication we use now being that everything is put on video, so it starts to feel like you're watching some type of production. The show Damages with Glenn Close, which did 5 seasons. Every season was based, like, it was a story. It was fictional, but it was based on a real world event. Like season 1 was based on Enron. There was one based on Blackwater, and basically we're looking at we are in a hard time for actual good shows based on this type of material, and you can't compete with real world interpretations of that. And that's kind of, it's like wrestling was right all along. We live in a world now where kayfabe is everything, where everything is some type of storyline. And it's this it's both real and fake at the same time. It's like Schrodinger's reality.
Yeah, it's kind of sickening.
Yeah. As for like, they include lots of photos of her fashion. She could never win. She could have worn a pantsuit every day, and they would have criticized that too. They would have found a way to criticize that.
There's no way to win for her. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, if people were just accusing her of being an awkward, strange person, I don't know. I mean, I think you can get a pass for acting a little bit strange when something strange is an understatement happens to you in your life in a very public, brutal way. I think you might get a little bit of an excuse to act strange in that scenario. But if that's all people were saying about her, that she's strange and off-putting, I wouldn't even give it a close attention. But
you see that one
it's really gotten to a point. It's like it is schizophrenic at this point, what people are saying about her.
You see that one? It was just a picture of her, and it was just a tweet that said, "She looks evil."
No, yeah, I posted something about this shortly after maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas when we were off. I said, I've been offline for a while, and I come back, and my entire timeline is hate posts about Erika Kirk. I just find it kind of disturbing. And this person replies to me with just a picture of her face, just her. And they said, like, she looks evil. And I'm like, okay, so that's your argument, is that she just looks evil. That's the start and end of your dossier against her, is that she looks weird. Okay. Glad we can move on then.
Yep. All right. Let's do some super chats.
High Voltage 75 said, Sophie better stop her harlotry and repent, or she will be paying the ultimate sin tax. Am I right?
Well, then,
yeah,
there you go. Leave it up to God to decide.
Everyone has to pay for their wrongdoing in the end.
How did you feel? You weren't on the show yesterday, so now I can actually ask you your opinions. Did you read Scott Adams' letter?
No, I didn't. What are you referring to?
Basically saying that he was never a believer in, he never believed in God, but like on January 1st when he wrote this letter, he's saying like, I'm accepting Jesus Christ into my life, and I hope I'm right.
Oh, yeah.
And then
heard
I saw Christians arguing about whether that was whether they should accept that answer from him or not, and a lot of them were like, it's not our place to judge. It's God's place to judge, not ours.
Well, I'm glad that he had a change of heart toward the end of his life. I think that's a reason to celebrate. But there were a lot of people who claimed that that wasn't sufficient for his salvation, which is interesting. I think that's more of a Protestant Christian's view of salvation. Whereas I think a Catholic view of salvation, although it's stereotyped as basically a lot of Protestants think that Catholics believe you have to earn salvation, and that takes all the power away from Jesus. And ironically, it's Catholics who believe that insufficient contrition, or that any level of contrition rather is sufficient, even if it's only contrition for your wrongdoing out of fear of going to hell, which is basically what he expressed.
Is that Pascal's wager basically like I'm gonna hedge my bets and say
exactly?
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, and that in the Catholic view, at least, I can't speak for anyone else, is seen as sufficient for one's salvation. So I was glad to see that. Man Bear Cow TV said, Brett, how long did you play hockey? What position? Why did you stop? I'm a goalie, played some college ice when I went back for my master's degree.
That's cool. That's awesome. I played up to high school. I was a center. I stopped because I was skating. I found skating at the same time, and well, not at the same time, but later. And just I got so into it that hockey kind of lost the appeal to me. I liked the individuality of skating as opposed to the team aspect of hockey, though I did like that as well. If I could do one thing out here, I should get new skates and equipment and join like a league. Like that would be cool.
That would be cool.
It would be cool to like my dad, who now has been has overcome cancer. He's in his 80s. He's still playing softball. Like he sends me messages where I'm like, I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, I thought maybe he was having like a memory lapse or something. And I was like, you joined another, cause he spends winters in Florida, and yeah, he plays softball on the during the week. So stay active.
That's awesome. Well, maybe Brett, you should save a return to hockey for your official midlife crisis.
That's a good idea.
You're not quite at that point yet. You have to wait until you're in your late 40s, maybe your 50s.
Yeah.
Then you can return to the ice for your second wind. Brian Bledsoe said, if I vote February, is it just black fatigue? Yeah, I forgot about that. February is Black History Month, so we're going to be hearing a lot about that next month. I just recently saw an ad for Disney. I was watching Hulu, so they were advertising the theme park, and they invited you to come celebrate Black culture at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I keep hearing about wokeness being dead, but then I keep seeing a lot of wokeness. So that's
I feel like wokeness being dead just means that you get to have some stupid opinions and some good opinions, and you just don't lose your job as often now.
Does it just mean that you can call things gay?
Yeah.
I think that's all it means.
That's basically all it means now. Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after. Let's move on.
Okay. Sketch comedian Drewski has just posted his magnum opus. He is truly an anthropologist of our time. This recent video is a takedown of megachurch pastors who really have a bad rap already. But you've seen all of those videos of megachurch pastors flying around their congregation on cords, and they've got the firework displays, they've got the fog machine. It's basically a rock concert up in there. And, they have a bad reputation for a lot of reasons, not just their theatricality, but also allegedly their corruption and greed and the manipulation tactics that they use on their congregation in order to get donations and tithing. So Drewski targeted megachurch pastors in this video titled "Megachurch Pastors Love Money."
Here we go.
It's great every second. It's so amazing. Like, the budget on this is crazy.
I mean, that's what it's like at the big churches.
I know.
Do you want a revolution?
You want a revolution?
I'm gonna have Wanda stand up here. Wanda, please. Wanda told us earlier this month that she could not have a baby anymore. So I impregnated her with the word of God.
That was, he impregnated her with the word of God.
Yeah.
I'm going to impregnate everyone with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. You gonna get pregnant with the word of God.
Using the Oprah line. You get the
Yeah.
with the word of God.
You gonna get pregnant with the word of God. Impregnate. I had somebody in the congregation ask why I'm wearing Christian Dior and Christian Louboutins. Because I'm a Christian and I walk in the blood of Jesus. Give him some praise. I'm a Christian first.
Wait, are those Christian Louboutins for men?
Yes,
Didn't
they
even
are.
know such a thing existed.
And I walk in the blood of Jesus. Give him some praise. Give him some praise. So we are raising funds for a project in Zimbabwe. Yes, we are trying to get our congregation over in Africa. Amen. We wanted to raise $4 million for that. Amen. Amen.
Are you going to do your part for the kids in Zimbabwe? For the Christians in Zimbabwe?
Hallelujah. That needs to appear today. We are not letting anyone leave until we reach our goal. Amen.
Lock the doors.
Hallelujah. Life savings here. Give him some praise for that. Give it his life savings up. Apostle Richie says, baby, can you help me? I said, can you help me? I said, can you help me? I'm gonna finish this word here, and I'm gonna do the Christian version. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna do the Christian version. I'm driving this Bentley Bentayga because I believe in Christ.
Okay.
Can you leap on your legs like a survivor? Can you leap on your legs till the money fall out your pocket?
I mean, the biggest crime here is the zero sugar monster. At least get the white monsters that are the
Right.
low calorie.
Still praise the Lord.
I need you to pray for my wife. Hey, come on, man. Hey, get your hands off my car. You gave tithes and offering? No. Back the fuck up, man. What's wrong with you, man?
Okay.
Yeah. So that was his way of putting the megachurch pastors on blast. I forget the name of the most infamous one. He was the one who was mainly getting flack for flying on private jets, and then somebody confronted him about it. And he said it was because he needed the security of flying on a private jet, and he just had a demonic meltdown in front of the journalist who was questioning him.
Kenneth Copeland?
Yes, Kenneth Copeland.
Okay.
Yes, that was one of the names that was in the comments. And there's another pastor named Toby Adegboyega, I believe, who was cited as the inspiration for the skit.
Oh,
Here
boy.
he is with his blue Ferrari worth almost $600,000.
Oh my goodness.
That in fact is a pastor. And Drewski was also not making up the theatrics with the floating above the stage. Here is an example of a pastor doing exactly that. It seems like it should be a skit, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's completely copy and paste of reality. And I did also want to show an admittedly AI generated video of a pastor clad in designer clothing calling out Drewski for his skit here.
Yes, this is not real. It is AI generated, so don't come at us.
This bitch ass trying to downplay church, and I ain't going for it in Jesus' name. Everything we got in here is because of God blessings, y'all donations, and my donations. It's all for the church. Praise the Lord. And let me tell you something. Fuck that fat bitch.
With the Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
In the car in the background.
Bro, Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
I mean, that would be an act of God to get Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
That's a miracle right there. Yeah. Now, I've seen a lot of responses to this skit claiming that Christians are offended, but I have yet to find any response from one Christian that is offended by this. I've seen way more Christians who completely agree with the spirit of the joke that he was cracking. They completely agree with it. And one person said Drewski's skit wasn't an attack on religion or Christianity. It was an attack on preachers who call themselves leading people to Christ, but focus on self-praise, financial gain, and manipulating their congregation. Another one pointed out the funniest part is that Drewski possibly paid someone's megachurch to be able to do this, like to film in an actual megachurch. And because they took the money, like he's making fun of in this video, he gets to clown on all of them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of perfect.
It's almost parody that they would take the money to let him do that.
Right. And lastly, I did see one valid critique is that, you know, we would love to see a skit about other religions. Like, where's the Muslim skit? Where's the Jewish skit? We want to see that. However, to be fair, he has made a skit about the Nation of Islam. He has made a skit also about Black Israelites. So I guess those kind of fit the bill when it comes to making fun of Muslims and Jews, not just Christians, because we do get tired of that like Christians are the punchline so often. But he makes fun of all sides. He's an equal opportunity hater.
Yeah.
So
plus, it's like he wasn't insulting the religion as it is. He was insulting a very, very corporatized offshoot of it.
Right, like even in those skits about the Nation of Islam or about the Black Israelites, he's not actually making fun of Islam or Judaism. He's making fun of these offshoots that completely manipulate the message and have these cult-like aspects to it. So it is similar, and I think it's fair.
Yeah.
You know, he's a straight shooter.
I mean, he got some, like, it was like when he did the skit about the NASCAR thing and he did like whiteface and they're like, the conservatives are so mad. I'm like, I did not see a single conservative be mad about that.
Yeah, it's like the same exact thing happened with this, where everyone's talking about how offended the Christians are. And I'm like, excuse me, I can't find the offended Christians you're talking about. And with the whiteface skit, everyone was talking about how white people were mad. And I couldn't find any offended white people.
I mean, maybe
where
there
are
was,
they?
but I did not see them.
No. So I think that's fair that he made fun of the megachurch pastors, because it's not that he's making fun of the Christian faith itself. He's making fun of a manipulation of it.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that's a lot of work to put into your skit, to pay the money to rent out that whole place and get all the props and all those
production value is crazy.
Or those extras, or however much it costs to hire all the people to be in the crowd there.
Yeah, like, does it pay for itself? Like, how does he make money doing all of this? He must have dropped so much on the production value of the skit.
Yeah.
When is Drewski gonna be on SNL? I guess that's kind of below him.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if they have the sense to invite someone actually funny on SNL.
I mean, it wouldn't matter because he wouldn't be doing the writing. Some annoying New York liberal would be doing the writing, and it wouldn't be funny.
Yeah, they shoot themselves in the foot. Every time.
All right. Let's do some super chats. We got a bunch. Let's get through them all.
Shane H. Wilder said, January sucks. I've been praying, or maybe paying attention to the weather in West Virginia since I'll be there next week. 20 degrees colder than here. I'm a little scared.
Yeah. And 20 degrees colder than what it is right now. Like, it's we got into the 50s most of last week and I think today. And then starting next week, of course, it's going to be back down into much colder temperatures.
The weather keeps giving us false hope. And it just drops down again. How are we doing in the poll? Is January winning or February?
Let's see what's going on here.
It should be January.
As of right now, February is winning, 54 to 46. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, tell us why. I'm interested.
In the chat,
Greg
you should let
Duvier.
us know why you think February is worse. I know why I think it's worse. I think the weather's worse, but that's just me.
Greg Duvier said, here in North Dakota, March is the worst because the weather is unpredictable and typically is the most snowy month. Yeah, it tends to be like when it just gets slightly colder, but you're going back and forth between freezing and above freezing.
Yeah. And when it gets too cold, it doesn't snow. It actually snows more when you're hovering right around freezing. So not a fan of February, that's for sure.
I've heard that it actually snows quite a lot in Nashville, more than people would assume.
Yeah.
Probably for that reason. It's just like not quite cold enough to avoid it, but it's usually warm enough here where they completely lack the infrastructure to respond to the roads being an icy hellscape.
Yeah,
So-
there was one night when I was coming home from work here, and there was an accident like right by the bridge that I used to get home back into Maryland, and you could not go over it, so I had to go up the mountain to go around. And it was like I said, I grew up in Minnesota where there was snow, there was just feet of snow all the time, but it has such good plowing infrastructure, and for the most part it's flat, that I never felt like it was ever any struggle. You know, there'd be some days where I had to work so early in the morning that you were out before the plows really got out and, you know, and put the salt down on everything. But for the most part, it wasn't all that much of a concern. Out here, there are days with way less snow that are far more cumbersome just by virtue of, first of all, a lot of people out here don't know how to drive in the snow. And having to come down the mountain in that when there's no plowing up there is wild.
And there are a lot of areas where you're on a back road right next to a gigantic ravine that doesn't have
no guardrail.
You know, no guardrail on the side. You're just like,
that happened.
Living on a prayer.
There was a couple of them where I was coming down the mountain and I'm like, you know, if that's how I went out, valid. That makes sense.
You kind of put yourself in that situation. Brian Bledsoe said number 4 of Biggie's 10 crack commandments.
Yes, never get high on your own supply.
What is that real?
It's a song.
It's a song. Oh, what are the other ones then?
I'd have to look them up. It's been a long time since I've listened to that album.
Wait, I want to know now.
It's what hip hop scholars are for.
The 10 crack commandments.
Crisis Party.
Put a girl on.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you guys.
I found it.
Got it?
You never let anyone know how much money you have. Never trust anyone. Never selling where you live.
Oh yeah, of course.
Avoiding credit with customers.
Yep, you don't want to you don't want to let them have any without paying you because the crackhead's never going to pay you.
It also warns against keeping drugs on your person and advises staying away from police unless you're being arrested. I can't find the other ones. Well, I guess we know one more. Okay. I mean, those are pretty self-explanatory. High Voltage 75 said, I imagine whenever Mary complains about the cold to Brett, he's thinking, really? You forget you're talking to a Minnesotan? I mean, Brett you prefer like in the upper 50s or low 60s, right? That's like your ideal.
Yeah, I'd prefer the 60s. Like mid 60s would be perfect for me.
I think the worst vibe is when it's super sunny out but freezing cold.
Yes.
You wanna be outside and enjoy it, and then you go out and you just die. Shane H. Wilder said, Matt. Oh, I think I already read that one earlier. Man Bear Cow TV said, Mary, since my hints were too subtle, let's do Kentucky Derby. I would love to go with you. If May is too far away, perhaps a Golden Knights or Nashville Predators hockey game in February. Cheers. I'm gonna have to pass on all of those offers, Man Bear Cow TV. I apologize. Flattered that you would ask, but not interested. Sorry. I just meant that I would be vaguely interested in going to the Kentucky Derby, like at some other time in the future, like not with you. Sorry. Koski, I believe that's how I'm supposed to say it. Koski said, "You find husband yet?" Well, Brett he's married to a woman.
No husband yet for me because I'm married to my wife.
And if I were engaged or married, you probably wouldn't know about it anyway.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Robert Delera said Sydney Sweeney meeting Israeli hostages is a complete overreaction. It was a nice gesture, nothing more. Plus, dating a guy that has the same nickname as a Muppet is not going to last.
That is probably true.
We'll see. You know, maybe they're in it for the long haul. They've been together since August, which is longer than anybody expected, right? But they've been incredibly public about the relationship, which makes us think it's for PR reasons. But he's not doing her any favors if he's trying to portray her as someone cozying up to the Zionist cause. Like, I thought that she was just trying to get jobs from him.
That's what I thought.
You know, he's not doing her any favors in that regard. But yeah, I read further that Scooter he's like spoken at events for that nonprofit organization that posted the photo. So he probably put her up to the task. Corey Anderson said it's February and we all know why. What? Because of Valentine's Day?
Because of the
Black
bad
History
weather?
Month? Bad weather? I don't know. I can't tell. Brian Bledsoe said Colonel Kurtz gave us a stern talking to about makeup yesterday. Mary, care to share your makeup routine for today? Well, tell me about this. What did she say?
I already forgot.
Was she like against it, or
somebody in the chat can let me know what it was. Oddly enough, when topic of makeup comes up, I tend to have a hard time remembering. Shocking, I know.
Was she like anti-makeup?
No. I don't believe so.
Because I have seen her wear it. No,
she does. She does wear it. Oh, I mean, she was talking about how men talk about how they like the natural look, but oftentimes they can't tell when a woman is wearing makeup. They're like, I like the way she looks. She looks natural, but she's actually wearing a ton of subtle makeup.
That is very true.
Yep.
That is true. And I actually would prefer for men to know nothing about makeup. That is probably for the best. If they knew a lot about makeup, then we would all think, oh, he's like gay. But my makeup routine, I don't know. Would anyone be interested in that? Is that like boring for guys to hear about? I wear foundation. I wear powder. I wear blush. I wear a lip stain. I wear mascara and some eyeshadow.
There you go.
There you have it. And other miscellaneous things that you probably don't even know what it is or what it's called. Corey Anderson said, I don't think Mary is wearing makeup. I mean, that's got to be a joke, right? I feel like, I mean, right? Am I crazy? Brett, tell me from a man's perspective. If you see me, like, you can tell that I'm wearing at least some makeup, right?
Yes.
Like, I think it's obvious.
Yes.
You know, I feel like I don't go overboard with it, but it's definitely noticeable. Pat the Plumber said, when are we getting a country crisis party banger? I dislike country, but I've come to learn through dating that women love that ish.
Pat, I want to say sorry. I didn't realize that was a 20. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't see that either. Sorry about that. When are we getting a country crisis party? I mean, I guess we could put Carter up to it, maybe.
We could see if he could do that.
I've obviously heard a lot of country music since moving to Nashville.
Of
I've
course.
heard a lot of country singers covering non-country songs, especially Chappell Roan. Lots of Pink Pony Club. I hear that song every day. And I was trying to look up just bars or restaurants around here that don't have live music because it's often like it's so loud that you can't have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And when I tried to look it up, I just got a bunch of results from Reddit where they were asking to find bars that don't have country music because all of the Redditors hate country music because they hate whoever they believe to be fans of country music. So they kind of polluted the discussion.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why would you visit or live in Nashville if you hate country music? That doesn't compute to me. No Control said sin taxes lead to government pushing the sin to up the money.
The money? Yeah, well, they'll just reflexively change the definition of what they mean and,
So the government of Florida would end up promoting OnlyFans in order to make more money off of the OnlyFans creators.
Diabolical.
That's something I hadn't even thought of, but I wouldn't put it past them.
It's like the states, like when you go into Michigan, okay? When you get out of Ohio and you get into Michigan, there is 10,000 billboards and they're all head shops. They're all weed shops. They're all for weed.
Yeah.
Is
it legal there?
I have to imagine that it is. If every business that's advertised on a freaking billboard is a weed shop.
Well, it's hard to tell because I see a lot of shops around here that are labeled as like cannabis shops, but it's like recreational weed is not legal in Tennessee, at least as far as I know. So I'm like, what are they selling? Are they selling like cannabis skin cream or something? Like, what's going on? Pop Culture Junkie said in November 2015, the feds reclaimed the 2 Midland armored vehicles based on a signed executive order from then President Obama. The sheriff was unhappy.
Oh, I bet.
Well, did they get it back?
They must have
got both of them back.
I hope they got it back.
I hope so, yeah. Corey Anderson said tax the 304s, but not the tip. Robert Delara said this guy running for Florida governor looks like Jeff Goldblum. If he wins, he can build a Jurassic Park to rival Disneyland. I'm pretty sure they own that. I think they've got that covered over at Disney. But I just saw a trailer for this like new Jurassic Park video game.
Yeah.
You heard anything about that?
No. Like is it like free, like what kind of game is it?
Oh, I don't know all the terminology. Do you mean like open world?
Yeah, is it like an open world game?
Yeah, yeah. And the graphics are incredible because of course they are. But you do have to play as an Indian woman who wasn't, a character in the franchise. She's just a random Indian chick. So I guess have fun with that. Shane H. Wilder said, I'm perfectly fine with the sin tax. Then again, I'm fine with banning the ish outright. It won't happen, but I'd be happy if it did. Yeah, that's obviously the ideal situation for, people who have our worldview, is just banning it altogether. But if that's not possible, I would agree that there are other options. Perhaps, if James Fishbach actually did win, I would support it, but it's unlikely. The Manic Mustache said, late as usual, but apropos to the middle Monday, remember that the first time and the last time will never be as good as you hoped, but they will never be forgotten. Stay toxic, my friends. What does that mean?
I love words of wisdom. Thank you so much.
That's incredibly vague, but, sure. Pat the Plumber said, how many employees does the average corporation have versus how many employees does the average BOP have? That's a good question.
They have their editor, they have their manager, and they have their
the chatters, of course.
Yeah.
Because they don't just have a manager; they always have a management company,
and all that is outsourced. Not even American jobs.
The outsourced labor is what's responsible for sexting the OnlyFans subscribers from the other side of the globe. So, I mean, she's definitely closer to a corporation than an individual. To be fair, she was kind of misrepresenting that fact in her video. She employs a lot of Indians to sext her fans. Corey Anderson said, calling yourself a bop instead of a Scarlet Woman is a stretch. Whatever helps the 304 sleep at night, I guess. When is Olivia going to get a new cat?
We aren't getting any new cats as of now. We've got our 3 cats that we love dearly.
No plans for a 4th?
No room.
I'm your in-law that's pressuring you about getting another cat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, to be fair, bop is a derogatory term.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an acronym, contrary to popular belief. Shane H. Wilder said, random fact I learned last year, the judge who caused the beatification to halt in 2019 was the same judge from the Trump sex case.
Which case was that?
Was it involving, it sounds like it would be the one involving Stormy Daniels, but maybe it's the
other lady?
Eugene Carroll lady?
Yeah, maybe it's that one.
What was that story? It was like they were at a Bergdorf Goodman or something.
It was like some store in like the 80s or something like that.
Yeah, and he like pulled her into a dressing room at this department store. Like, lady, no one believes that shit. Yeah. And then she was talking about, wasn't she on a news hit and she was saying something like that rape is sexy? And we were like, oh, okay, I see what you're about now.
So you're a crazy person.
You read romance novels.
Yes.
And you just made your own romance novel about yourself and Donald Trump, clearly. Pop Culture Junkie said James Fishbach here in Florida is a well-known moron. Oh.
Coming
why?
in hot with that one, Junkie. Thank you.
Explain why. I don't know the lore. I need to know the James Fishbach lore. So, I'm an informed. Well, I'm not a voter in Florida, so it's none of my concern. But I would love to know.
Sydney Sweeney might want to know. She's registered in Florida. Maybe she wants to know what James Fishbach's takes are.
I'm just nosy. Well, Sydney, she's very pro-business, so I would assume she would be against his policy. Pat the Plumber said, not reading my 20 rude SMH.
Sorry about that.
Apologies.
We did read it, but I do apologize.
Burnt Oils said all the pucks would go by Brett now, LOL.
Well, I wasn't a goalie, so it wouldn't have mattered, but, you know.
Brian Bledsoe said, Brett, have you seen the Doomsday Clock stream?
No. Is that related to Avengers Doomsday, or are we talking about the actual Doomsday Clock?
What's that?
I don't know.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Rural Conservative. Okay, I'm not reading that. Never mind. The Manic Mustache said, I'm a 42-year-old wrestling coach contemplating whether I should start an old guy practice, then eventually an old guy competition team. Then the feel-good movie writes itself.
It would.
Stay toxic, my friends.
I mean, I don't know about wrestling, but definitely like an old guy baseball team or an old guy hockey team or even like an old guy basketball team if you're into that sort of thing.
Wasn't there was like a movie, I don't know if it was a movie about Jesus or like one of the apostles or something.
Yes, about the parkour guy.
Well, where he's a boxer or something in the movie.
Or not
right?
parkour. Yeah, he was like it was like MMA.
Yeah, it was like MMA Jesus or something. I remember it vaguely enough.
Hold on.
I think we watched the trailer on the show.
We had to have.
You just reminded me of that. The Manic Mustache.
The Carpenter. It was called The Carpenter. Faith-based film that blends biblical times with modern action, featuring an MMA fighter named Oren who becomes an apprentice to Jesus and trains with him, with fight scenes set to heavy metal music like Godsmack and Drowning Pool. The movie explores themes of faith, strength, and finding purpose as Jesus mentors the fighter, showing Jesus as a likable, wise figure during his pre-ministry years, contrasting his peaceful teachings with
I'm seeing the light.
Yes, literally right now.
It was well timed. Well, I remember not being opposed to the idea. Obviously it's not accurate, but who cares sometimes. Shane H. Wilder said, I thought Drewski's sketch was real at first. I drive past a megachurch on my way home from Mass, and you can hear the bass line drop from the street. That's crazy.
Actual sound violations, like code violations.
They're basically having a rave every Sunday. In fact, a lot of those megachurches, they have services like twice, maybe 3 times a week. By the way, that reminds me, like Christian raves, there is a nightclub, like sort of in my area, that claims to be a Christian nightclub, and they they don't have alcohol. Just saying, they don't have alcohol, so there's one mark against it. But
wait, why not?
Yeah,
is that like against teachings or something?
Some sects, some Protestant denominations actually do think that drinking is sinful, so I assume that they are the ones who started such a thing. But yeah, I'm just like morbidly curious. Like I kind of want to go and just like see what the vibes are, you know?
Yep.
I'll let you know if I do. I'll give you a report from the ground. Adam said, salvation comes only from faith in Christ Jesus. Also, if Jesus said to the criminal to his right that he will be in his kingdom, then why not Scott Adams? I didn't see a lot of the replies that you were referencing, Brett, about people saying that that wasn't good enough, but
I saw a couple.
I mean, regardless, I was glad to hear that he converted. Corey Anderson said, why is Minnesota such a screwed up place, Brett? So many yellow-eyed big heads always thought it was a state for hardworking people. Guess not.
Minnesota is 2 major metropolitan cities surrounded by blue-collar red cities outside of St. Paul and Minneapolis. So, and even within that, like there are, I know a lot of great people. I've known a lot of great people, family people, all throughout the state, but the government is another thing entirely. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, it must pain you to see what's going on over there.
I guess like
it's your hometown.
I don't feel that same attachment, like just in the same way that like people who get obsessed with their cultural heritage. I always just saw myself as an American, not as like a Polish person or a Croatian person. I was just an American, and I guess I loved Minnesota when I lived there. I guess it's where I'm from, but I don't feel some like pain of betrayal. Shitty government is the rule, not the exception, and Minnesota being a particular bad example doesn't change how I feel about anything, I guess.
That's fair. Speaking of a metropolitan area in the Midwest, I've continued rewatching The Bear recently, and set in Chicago. And there are several scenes where crime takes place outside of the restaurant, and
crisis party.
Put a girl on.
That was good. That was good.
But yeah, they in one scene, they come out to this crowd of people screaming at each other and causing a ruckus, and they're about to break into a fist fight outside of the restaurant. And they go out there, and it's a bunch of elderly, like, Italian men. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. This is how you're portraying Chicago? Like, everyone knows about the plague of Italian mafia guys in Chicago.
Very current year.
Yeah.
Very current
that's
year.
Totally accurate.
Yep.
Alejandro Reyes said, I'm interested, Man Bear, hit me up. If you guys actually link up and go to the Kentucky Derby, more power to you. I hope you do. Please send us a selfie and we'll put it in Cute of the Day. I hope that happens. Dr. Larsena said, as a traditional Protestant, I can affirm that there is nothing Protestant about doubting someone else's contrition adequacy. Nothing anti-Christian about ripping on fake XN. I don't know what that means.
Scam artists?
Scam artists posing as men of God. Well, as for the first point, I was merely saying that it was mostly Protestants who were calling Scott Adams into question about his conversion because he didn't in their point of view, adequately proclaim faith in Jesus, because he's still a doubting, according to him, doubting, questioning person, and he was, in a sense, yeah. Yeah. Corey Anderson said, Protestants, Catholics, and Orthodox Christians must come together so we can fight back and get Minnesota out of the disgusting hands of the Islamists. Well, I would love to see that happen. I would love for these people to get deported, but it remains to be seen. Pop Culture Junkie said, Mary, it can get cold in Tennessee. Winter of 1993 at 10 p.m. walked out of my TV station in Memphis after a sleet storm to discover my Infinity M30 was a frozen popsicle. Took 2 hours to de-ice it.
That is the worst when you have to, when you have to de-ice a car.
Yeah, and then your fingers just go numb.
Yep. That was like
So
the one. That was the one. Have you see the meme that was going around? Is like when somebody asks me what I want for Christmas and I become like a monk with no wants or needs. That was me. That's me most of the time. When somebody asks me what I want for a gift, I never know what to say. But I did ask for like nice gloves this year. That was the thing I got.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are they leather gloves?
They're not. I don't know what the material is, but they're very nice. They're very warm.
Nice.
Yeah.
But whatever you do, if that happens to you, do not pour boiling water on your car.
Don't do that.
That's a rookie mistake. High Voltage 75 said, Mary, I unironically think you'd really like the Kentucky Derby, if not for the racing, but for the fashion and fancy dress. Well, yeah, I mean, that was just implied, right? Like I'm just going for the outfits and the hats. Love the hats, love the gloves. Not really a horse girl, but I don't know, I could be entertained by that. I tried to bet on the horses at the casino. But it was so confusing and nobody would explain to me how it works. So I think I ended up accidentally betting on a horse that was racing in another state. Because I am a dumbass.
There's a 20 here from Pop Culture Junkie. You got it there?
Not seeing
okay,
it
he
here,
says
no.
Fishback got a ton of liberal guff after founding Azoria ETF, which tracks the S&P 500 but excludes companies with diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. He also sued his employer over a dispute over his job title.
Well, he sounds like a problem.
Doesn't sound like a good guy.
Excludes companies with DEI policies. Okay. Well, I mean, that part doesn't sound as bad, but I'd have to look into him further to make up my mind. Corey Anderson said, yes, Mary, it was a joke. You are obviously wearing concealer. You need to go to Lovelaces. No live music. Fantastic food.
There you go.
I'll look into it.
Right there.
Yeah. Burnt Oil said, Mary can mentor Haley. She needs it, both in Nashville.
I don't know who that is.
I think they're referring to Haley Williams, but I thought Haley Williams, I thought she moved away from Nashville because she hates it so much and she hates the people here.
Sounds about right.
I could be wrong.
She's gonna go move in with Maren Morris, somewhere not in Nashville.
Yeah, she also was very public about her hatred for Nashville and leaving the country music scene. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. Corey Anderson said, the neck hole of Brett's t-shirt is so big. Mary can walk through it while wearing platforms. Olivia deserves a kitten. She seems like a lovely lady.
You people and your obsessions with my shirts. It's crazy work how much you guys care about that.
Well, specifically the neck is what bothers them so much.
They're like, why? You know what I think it is? I think y'all are obsessed with autoerotic asphyxiation. You're like, why aren't you letting your shirt strangle you, Brett? Like, why aren't you slowly letting your shirt cut off the circulation, the blood to your brain so that you pass out on air? Maybe that's
my neck hole. My neck hole is probably it's actually wider.
Yes.
So I don't know. Nobody's ever had a problem with that. Greg Duvier said, Mary, when do you start your job at Daily Wire? JK, you're funny. You make me laugh. Shane H. Wilder said it was the judge from the E. Jean Carroll case. Well, that's crazy. I mean, it's always who you most suspect, right? Corey Anderson said Mary is using Tuesday and Thursday to work on her OF Excel sheet, which she's turning into a documentary film about healing the old wounds of bops. If only. I mean, I would love to do that, actually. It's sounds like it would be incredible. Brian Bledsoe said Marvel has a 24-hour countdown stream on YouTube.
I mean, I'm looking at this thing right now that it has found. It says Marvel launches their Doomsday is coming 11 months, 4 days, 14 hours. I'm assuming this is something for the full trailer they're probably doing.
If they delay that movie, that's going to be a really bad look.
They got to change the clock.
Yeah, that would be really bad.
Yep.
So I guess that means they're locked in to the
They're like, can't do anything about it now.
Alejandro Reyes said, what do we think about pretty privilege in general? I don't have it, but I am a firm supporter of it.
It's absolutely
exists.
real. It's absolutely real.
It's definitely real. And I think because it's real, and because, you know, you will just be treated better for looking better. That's just a fact of life. I don't know if there is really a value judgment to place on it. Like, whether you support it or not, it exists. So
there is a doomsday clock with 800 people watching. That's 11 months, 3 days, 7 hours, 9 minutes, and so on.
Okay, so you just know that Eric Butts is currently tuned in, crying. He is already in tears.
Yes.
Like he is just having a full-on meltdown. He is a puddle of tears right now. Shane H. Wilder said, why does a Christian nightclub sound like a front? I get the feeling that inside a lot of non-Christian debauchery goes on. Yeah, because it's like you're insisting on yourself too much.
Okay.
You know, there's got to be something strange going on there, but I'll have to check it out for myself and
report back.
I'll report back. I'll tell you all about it.
All right.
Brian Bledsoe said, crisis actor meet up at the Kentucky Derby.
Do it.
I mean, it's pretty expensive, right? I've heard that it's pretty expensive to get into the Kentucky Derby.
Isn't that old money stuff? Like, that's for the old money crowd?
Maybe it used to be. It's definitely for influencers these days.
Yeah.
But
Logan Paul, like, jumping off the railing onto a horse.
That sounds like something that already happened at a Kentucky Derby. Like that, you could have told me that already happened. I believe you. But if there is a crisis actor meetup, you know, that would be really cool. Send us pictures. Pop Culture Junkie said Fishback. Brett read that one. No Control said money for Mary's Derby hat fund. Yeah, I've got to drop like 50 bands on my Derby hat. So I appreciate you chipping in. Alejandro Reyes said most of your fans wear turtlenecks. We are a sophisticated lot.
Turtleneck with
Do you now?
The turtleneck with the chain, like Lonely Island.
Or Drake.
Yep.
I appreciate a mock neck, guys. If you're a guy out there looking to shop for winter, for fall, look into mock necks.
I don't even know what that is.
It's meant to look like a turtleneck, but it's not.
Okay.
You'll see.
Okay.
Dr. Larcena said, sorry, trying to get letter count under 225. XN. Oh, abbreviation for Christian that I picked up from my Presbyterian college theology professors. Okay, well, now I know. Thank you for educating me. Corey Anderson said, Mary, your neck shirt hole is fine because it is fashion for you. For Brett, it is a distraction. I can't believe OC lets you dress like that in public.
It's not a distraction.
They're coming at you.
Yeah.
This is a personal attack.
Oh, they're saying, because I do this a lot, but that's more about the fit of the shirt than it is the neck.
Well, it does look like it's bothering you.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I should cry more about it.
Call the ambulance. Shane H. Wilder said, the Doomsday stream just reminded me that last week a channel dropped a video of a blank screen that is 140 years long.
How will they keep it going when the computer dies?
How is that even possible?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Brian Bledsoe said the infield tickets at the Derby are around 130. How many crisis parties to get Brett in a turtleneck?
30.
Do you own a turtleneck?
I don't own a turtleneck.
I don't either, but you said 30 crisis parties?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Why
guys,
not?
we can do it. We have 5 more minutes. We can make it. We can do it.
You can do it, guys.
We're gonna get Brett in a turtleneck. Corey Anderson said, Mary, have you gotten a cat yet? No, I have not. I have no imminent plans or even far off plans to get a cat. And I love cats. It's not anything against them. I am a cat person, but I am not ready for that level of commitment to a living creature. And honestly, you know, there are a lot of people who live in apartments around here that not only have like, you know, small dogs, which I think is crazy enough, but they have like German shepherds and they live in a 1-bedroom apartment, which I think is just cruel. Like it definitely needs more space than that. And I don't even like having to walk past these gigantic dogs
Meaning
in
that
my apartment building.
they don't have enough room to actually move around. It's unfair to the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely not have a large dog unless you have at least a little bit of land for it to walk or anything crazy like that. I trust you guys. Corey Anderson said the way Tim grabs at his shirt is more distracting. Oh,
I don't
do
know
I
if
have
you,
a tip?
I don't know if you have one. You sit completely still and forward the whole time.
Most of the time, yeah. Well, I have noticed as I've been recording more videos on my phone that I involuntarily, like, my eye twitches like a crazy person. Like, it makes me look crazy, so I have to redo the take and, like, consciously not twitch my eye.
Yeah.
Because I'm, like, talking about something and I'm just like this. Yeah. Not a good look. Do we have any Rumble rants?
No. We're good over there. We got one more super chat
Yeah.
there from Corey Anderson, and I think that is it.
I think I read it already.
And it says,
hasn't.
he says, can you put out some standing crisis party requirements, like 25 crisis parties, and Brett will get a mohawk, or 40 crisis parties, and Mary will return to the studio for a week? We'll workshop that off air.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We'll come up with some requirements.
We'll do that.
Can we keep the 31? And if we do eventually get to 30, you will wear a turtleneck on stream.
Has to be 30 in one show.
30 in one
Has to
show,
be 30
but
in one show.
it doesn't have to be this show. It can
Sure.
be a different one.
No, because I don't know if I want to
No.
let the milestone episodes put that into play. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
They're gonna use it against you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll see.
There's one more here from No Control. Says Rumble Ranters are second-class crisis actors. Nah, I love the Rumble Ranters as well, but there were no. Oh no, we did have one here from the local Wendigo. It says salvation is fasting, praying, and doing holy work for Christ, not just believing.
Well, look, I think that is a theological discussion that is not only above my level of expertise, but way above the pay grade of pop culture crisis. You're gonna have to take that up with someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I know, which is not much.
One more from Corey Anderson says turtleneck and thin gold chain, Brett. Yes, just like Lonely
Yeah,
Island.
it's got to be with the chain, of course.
All right, guys, before we go, would you all hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel? If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Like I said, like the videos when you like them. It helps the channel out a ton, so thank you guys so much for that. Mary, where can they find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
We might even get if I go slowly enough, maybe we get a fourth crisis party before this is. We're pretty close, but guys, if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. The show is here 5 days a week, guys, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is of course noon Pacific. Tomorrow we will have Alex in studio and Brandon will be in studio as well. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stay tuned for that one live in everyone's going to be here, which will be great. If you want to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify, which is a great way to help the channel out. So thank you guys so much for that. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisispod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see y'all then. Bye. Everybody.